Part two of how I ended up living with my parents at 28, 29 while I do my hair. So by this time, it's like fall and winter. I'm still doing pop-ups, still selling vintage, still doing that full time, but things have started to slow down. Mind you, y'all, I still had to pay for rental cars, which was like $450, $500, sometimes even $700 a month. And on top of that, I still have my regular bills, and I had to take out a business loan to be able to continue to afford my business expenses because I was doing this full time. So this was just very, very overwhelming for me and stressful. But it was crazy because before this, I was praying to God like months ago, like even like a year ago, basically asking God, like, hey, God, I do not like my life. I didn't like my job. I didn't like my relationship. And I loved my apartment, but I had been there for like 4 or 5 years. I was ready to leave, but I had no idea that God was really going to cause all this destruction. And when I say God causing all this destruction, that really isn't a bad thing, because a lot of times God has to really take all these things away from you if you want a change. But this was just still a very stressful time. And I prayed to God, and I was like, God, I don't know like what to do, because honestly, I could have went back to work, and I probably would have been able to, not probably, I know I would have been able to afford my bills going back to work and doing, my business on the side. But as I prayed, God told me I needed to just surrender. God told me like, hey, you're going to have to go back and live with your parents, surrender, go back, pay off your debt, and just kind of like start all over again. And like I said, it's crazy because I literally was praying to God for a change, and I had lost my job. At this time, I was also going through a breakup, and now I'm losing my apartment too. But I don't look at it as a loss. I look at it as a necessary thing that has had to happen. So basically, I did exactly what God told me to do. So I ended up moving out in the beginning of 2025, and I moved back to my parents, which was crazy, and I didn't really feel bad about it because this is what God was telling me to do. But I just feel like with my ego and just like, dang, like I'm really like living back home, like this is really the life that I did not envision for myself. Go ahead and check out part 3 to see how I'm doing and some unexpected things that I've learned.